Hello everyone, and welcome back to another anime season review. I am the Rat, and this is the Rat's Nest. Today, we are back with the annual, and by annual, I mean quarterly, and by quarterly, I mean kind of bi-quarterly? I don't know. The two times a quarter. The post-season review. Because there's also the mid-season reviews. That's why I say it happens 8 times a year. We're back, and this time, it is for fall 2023. This is where we talk about the shows that I have watched and my general thoughts on all of them. As always, there are some shows that I have followed every week and done some episodes on if you're curious on more detailed thoughts on episode, or you can watch the last episode and kind of give us more of detailed thoughts on the series. But this is also for that. This is what I do here. I'm going to go through, I'm going to talk about the stuff, and hopefully the video won't be over an hour long. That would be much preferable. So, as always, there are timestamps. You can see the stuff that I'll be talking about. So if you don't care about one anime, want to check out another one, you can definitely skip ahead. You can also skip ahead to the end, where I will give out my awards for the season. Ooh, wow, that's so fancy, isn't it? Something new I'm implementing. I've done it unofficially the past couple times, but I wanted to make it official. It just adds a little bit more fun to the agenda. So we have kind of 8 on today's agenda, kind of 6. 6 actual shows that I've watched through. And then 2 that I watched and dropped, and I will touch on slightly. But without further ado, let's just get right into it, shall we? First on the list is one of the big ticket items of this season, probably the most talked about anime, if not second most. Jujutsu Kaisen, the Shibuya incident, the end of season 2. This is kind of a holdover from last season, where it ran hidden inventory and then the beginning of Shibuya, but it's still a seasonal anime this season. And I really, really enjoyed it. This is the one my friend Kyle and I did a full episode reviews. If you're interested in the specifics, we talked a little bit about the Mappa situation, talked a little about Nobara as a character. We've had some good discussions, I think, but overall, Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2, the Shibuya incident, I was very, very happy with. Like I said, we've already addressed all the Mappa stuff, so I won't get into that here, but I really, really enjoyed it. I think the animation was really well done most of the time. Obviously, everything with Mappa, you can say a bunch of different things, but I think that they adapted the manga really, really well, and I'm happy with it. I mean, Shibuya is one of my favorite shonen arcs of all time, definitely. Probably top 3. I don't know. Ranking them is definitely hard, but so getting to see it adapted was really cool, and it was also weird, kind of how fast it went. I don't know. Like, it finished, and we were like, "Dang, we can't believe it's over," because like, for so long I was like, "Oh, we have so much more Shibuya to look forward to." But I was super happy with it. I mean, the voice acting and everything, the animation, the OST. I haven't seen very many people talk about the OST. Not that I've been watching tons of stuff on it, but the OST really impressed me personally. So much so I've gone and I've listened to the OST like on my own time while I'm playing Baldur's Gate 3, right? Funny game. Like, I really have loved it. Everything from Yuji's character arc and growth there, and his fight against Mahito, Yuji versus Mahito being my second favorite fight in Jujutsu Kaisen, was amazing to see that animated. It was also great to see what all the animators over at Mappa added to the stuff. Obviously, the big thing that's on my mind right now is Toto's little scene where he sees like his idol and schizophrenically beats up Mahito, which is pretty good. Mahito. Schizophrenically beats him up, which is really, really good. Getting to see all that stuff, getting to see, honestly, the fight in a different light, because, in the anime, the settings are clearer and everything that's happening is clearer than in the manga. And I think that Greg is a very talented mangaka in that you can typically tell what's going on in his action. But there was some stuff that was just a lot clearer in the anime. Again, an example of that being Yuji's, like, lip being ripped open, that I really, really enjoyed getting to see. It was just, a lot of stuff was made a lot clearer. The fight was made a lot clearer than in the manga. But again, it was kind of weird how fast it went. I think that it was paced well. Like, I'm not saying that against like the pacing, but it's weird that it's over because it's been a while. And I loved the opening. But just great stuff. My goat. You got Yuji versus Chozo, which I think was the best animated fight in Jujutsu Kaisen in the Shibuya incident. I don't think too many people would disagree with me there. Everything with Sukuna was goated. Everything with Kinjaku at the end was goated. I love Kenny. A great villain. But yeah, I am very, very pleased with how Jujutsu Kaisen Shibuya Incident turned out, and then obviously, they're gonna have the people that dislike it, and there's a lot to unpack there with Mappa, but that isn't for this. I really, really enjoyed it, and I'm looking forward to the Culling Games next season. Next up, we have an anime I like a bit less, and by a bit less, I mean a lot less, and that is The Rising of the Shield Hero Season 3. Oh boy, I have read the Shield Hero manga since 2018. I remember whenever Season 1 came out in winter 2019 was the season, I believe. I was so hyped for it. I watched episode 1 entirely in Japanese because it leaked early and didn't have subs yet. I watched that. I loved it. I loved Shield Hero so much. The first 4 volumes and that kind of content, that Season 1 content, is some of my favorite isekai out there, definitely. It just doesn't. We talked about it, Kyle and I talked about it every week. You can get our full thoughts on it in the last episode. But it wasn't good. This section of Shield Hero, just the content itself, like from the light novels, is fine, and honestly I enjoy it, and I think the anime adapted it okay, did some stuff better than others, some pacing issues, a lot of pacing issues, and all in all, just this is really where the content of Shield Hero kind of starts to go really downhill. Especially next season is 2 of my least favorite volumes of Shield Hero. I'm really not looking forward to next season, but this season it's just it was confusing. Kyle was an anime only, and I had to explain a lot of stuff to him. They left a good amount of stuff out. Stuff just wasn't clear. It wasn't clicking. There was just not good storytelling going on, and that's partially the anime's fault, partially the content's fault. I just wasn't a fan, and it's different from Season 2 because Season 2 was really... I believe that Season 2's content was good. It wasn't adapted well. I don't think the anime did a good job. Obviously, Episode 6 was done in one episode, or Volume 6 was done in one episode, and that's just... you can't do that. But Season 3, I mean, it adapted the content fine most of the time. I don't think there was ever really a time it elevated the content, really. And the stuff that I really, really was looking forward to was kind of underdone. Just very, very disappointing. I hate to see Shield Hero like that, because I used to really, really love it. But I still call myself a Shield Hero fan, but that's just because I hate myself. Like I said, if you want more detailed stuff, we talked about it for 40 minutes in the last episode. So that's Shield Hero Season 3, not my favorite. Now this is an anime that I quite enjoyed. I always really, really look forward to the next episode of it. And that is Ragna Crimson. This was a great show. I really, really enjoyed my time with it. So I read the manga to this a while back. I actually own the physical copies of volumes 1 and 2. I own the first 20 light novels of Shield Hero. Woof, that's... but Ragna Crimson, I own volumes 1 and 2 of the manga physically. And I read the manga a while ago, up to about where we are in the anime now. Now, this is obviously going to be a 2-core one. I am through episode 12. As of the time of recording, episode 13 might be out. I don't know. I haven't watched it. But I have thoroughly enjoyed it so far. I didn't expect it to get 24 episodes. I mean, like there's some genuine care put into this series. I think the animation is really, really well done. I love the style, the art style for it. I think the pacing is done really well. I think that it's directed well. I think that this is really giving Ragna Crimson's story the opportunity to shine. And shine, I think it is. It's not the most complex story in the world. It doesn't have to be. It's cool. It's sick. I love the characters. I love Ragna, obviously. I think that I like Ragna a lot more in the anime than I do in the manga. And that's really impressive. In the manga, I kind of felt like he was more of a blank slate. But I think in the anime, just with, the more distinct colors and how his colors really contrast with Crimson, and I really like that. Also getting to see, hear his voice actor and just have more personality with the character. I like him a lot more than I did in the manga. Crimson steals the show every time he's on screen. I love Crimson so much. Like, it's ridiculous. It's just the the voice act. I'm pretty sure it's an actress. I don't know, but the seiyuu. Look at me, I'm so cool. The seiyuu for Crimson is absolutely phenomenal. The animation on Crimson is absolutely phenomenal. You can tell in so many scenes that the animation team just had a blast animating him. It's so good. From all of his different disguises and roles and everything, it's just done really, really well. Again, like the animation, the art style, everything, the direction. It's just a really well produced show, especially in the cases of Ragna and Crimson. Whoa, like the name suggests. I also love the story of Ragna Crimson. Like I said, I really feel like this anime has given the story the time and opportunity to shine, and I really feel like it is. I mean, I feel like this is pretty much the definitive version of it. I don't know if there's a light novel. I think it's a manga original. I could be wrong on that. But I'm really happy to see a manga like Ragna Crimson get recognition and get the respect that I think that it deserves with the 24 episode core. Hopefully, you know, the animation and everything keeps up going into it. But I think you've done a great job so far, especially with the Ragna versus Ultimatia fight, which I think was really, really well animated, really, really well executed, to the point that, like, I bragged to my friend, I bragged to Kyle about it. I was like, dude, if you were ever bored, watch Ragna Crimson, because I really, really like how Ultimatia's time powers are used. And that's one, you know, the animation in the studio itself in the anime makes the budget good, and it makes everything pretty with it, and it adapted it well. But just the content itself of the fight, of having to get through Ultimatia's time powers, like, that's really, really interesting, and I really, really enjoy how they did it. It's going to be interesting, looking forward to seeing how they get around it. And that's the other thing with Ragna Crimson as a whole, is that I love the villains. I think the villains are so well developed throughout this entire season, to the point that you love to hate the dragons. Like Ragna versus what's his name, Sukuna's Kamui. Ragna versus Kamui, like, I'm legitimately excited to see that fight, and that doesn't typically happen, especially not in, like, I can't call this isekai light, especially not in, like, fantasy series like this. Like fights aren't really what you think of whenever you look at a series like Ragna Crimson. You know, most of the time, like, I'm legitimately excited to see how Ragna overcomes the barrier of Kamui, and I don't think he can right now, and that's the cool thing. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens in his fight against Zora. Ulta Zora? Is that the full name? I don't know. Zora. The gay one, you know? I'm excited to see what he does there against Pterodactyla. Like, I'm legitimately excited to see where this story goes, and especially with the villains, because Kamui and Ultimatia are so good together. You love to hate Ultimatia and Nebulum. You love to love Kamui. They're just written so well, especially where he's like, look, I don't care about the goddess. All I care about is you. But he's just real. He's just a real dude who wants to fight Ragna. That's so cool. I love it. I really, really love it. I think that the writing in Ragna Crimson is super, super solid. You know, like I said, it's not the most complex story, but it doesn't need to be the most complex story. It works just fine as it is, and I'm perfectly happy with it as it is. I have thoroughly, thoroughly enjoyed Ragna Crimson, and now we're at the point where I'm getting new content. So I'm going to be watching the rest of the season not knowing what happens, and I genuinely can't wait. Like, I'm really, really excited for it. I love the opening. I love the opening. Can't argue with that. But it's been a lot of fun this season. Now we're going to talk about the two that didn't make it. The two anime that I watched and dropped this season. One, I touched on last episode. I wasn't certain I was going to touch on it again, but I will. Berserk of Gluttony, I did never get back around to watch it, and I don't really care about it, so there's that. I looked at the voice cast, and it looked kind of insane. At least it looked some characters like I knew, and I was like, that's weird. I was like, what are they doing in Berserk of Gluttony? I mean, I talked about it in the first one. I didn't like Berserk of Gluttony. Episode 1, I'm not going to watch the rest of it. I didn't enjoy the first 2 volumes of it. Just bad writing, just bad in general. Not a fan at all. So that's really all I can say. I touched on it more the first time. Next one we have, though, this is new. I haven't talked about this one yet, and this is Kingdoms of Ruin. I think that's the English name of it. Oh boy, what a doozy. There was one night I was bored, I don't know why I didn't do something else, but I saw Kingdoms of Ruin. I read the description. I was like, you know what? Seems edgy enough. I'll check it out. You know me, I love edgy stuff. I'm a big fan of edge wherever I can find it. I think that edgy stuff is cool. I think that edgy characters are cool. I think that edgy lines are cool. I just really, really like edgy stuff. But I like well-written edgy stuff. And if edgy stuff isn't well-written, it has to at least still be cool. And Kingdom of the Ruin sucks. I actually recorded a 40-minute video after I watched it talking about how bad it was and how it was unintentionally the funniest anime of the season. I never uploaded it. I actually deleted it because I didn't like my talking about it. It's just so dumb. And it gets even crazier because so you have Kingdom of the Ruins, right? It sucks. It's bad. It's just edge for the sake of edge, which edge for the sake of edge can be cool, but you gotta, come on, make it good, make it believable, right? You're gonna have in the first episode, the guy run up the stairs to get stopped by normal security guards, and what did he think was gonna happen? You think he just bum rushed the Emperor and then he's fine? And then Chloe dies and everyone is despicable evil, and it's unrealistic, and you could do unrealistic, it's just not good. And then everyone's dying, and then he finally goes and he meets the witches up in the moon. So it's oh, this is an interesting plot point, and he just kills them all for no reason. And then the witch chick that he's with is oh, you just killed all my people, that literally our only chance of survival, you just killed them all. And he's yeah, I guess I did. And she's okay, you're just a little silly little goober. It's so dumb. It's so dumb. I dropped it at episode 7 or 8. And then I looked stuff up later online, and this was the craziest part, is that apparently the main villain is a former protagonist from the author's prequel series. It's apparently gone on for 400 something chapters, got axed, and he continued to publish it online. And it's her. And this series is part of a multiverse that he created where there's always a her. And the her in this one is Euphemia. I think that's her name. No, that's Code Geass. I can't remember her chick's name in Kingdom of Ruin. And it's a never-ending cycle of killing the protagonist, because then you need to put his head on the old. It's so weird and dumb, honestly. It is so weird. But yeah, there's an entire lore to his villain that you need to read his entire prequel series to understand, and you can't even find it anywhere. And it's of all the series, why'd they pick this one to get the anime, I don't know. It sucks. I'd recommend checking it out for the what the heck factor, but at the same time it just sucks, so I don't think I can recommend it like that. Sorry. Next up, we have kind of my big ticket item, I guess. The Eminence in Shadow, Season 2. 12 episodes of peak fiction. I did this one weekly, so if you're interested in any of my thoughts on specific episodes or kind of on the series as a whole, I talk about those. Those videos are up. Series as a whole is kind of episode 12, but obviously I will touch on it here as well, because this was a phenomenal anime. I already talked about, I had some minor gripes with some of the episodes. I talked about those in episode where it was oh, I kind of wish they had kept this dialogue from the light novel or made this a tiny bit clearer, yap, yap, yap. I'm a professional yapper. That's what I do. But I really, really loved basically everything in this season. The reason that I yap about those little details is because of how much I love the story and how much potential I think that it has. But I still think that the product that was delivered this season was done really, really well. I think that the source material was adapted as it has always been in the anime, right? It's not a one-to-one with the light novel, really, because I feel like the light novel you get, wow, in the light novel you get more details. Man, Brandon, you're so smart. How'd you figure that one out? Obviously in the light novel you get more details, but I do feel like the feel of the series is different in the light novel, the manga, and the anime. Each one of them is the Eminence in Shadow, but a slightly different version of it, I guess, if that makes sense. And I love the anime's version of it, where it definitely plays everything, I think, a lot straighter. Obviously, a lot straighter than the manga, and I feel like even straighter than the light novel, where kind of some of the comedy can even go under your nose sometimes. As to how straight they play it, it's like you're like, oh, is that a joke? I'm not saying that in like a bad way. I love how straight they play it, because playing it straight is the joke of the Eminence and Shadow. Obviously, we had 3 arcs adapted. We had the Lawless City arc adapted. We had the Credit arc adapted, and then we had Oriana Kingdom be adapted. Of the 3, Credit arc is probably my favorite. It's either that or Oriana Kingdom. I'd say Oriana Kingdom has better writing, but I think Credit arc is my favorite because of how intricate the intrinsic joke is, and how much effort that takes. I did have a little bit of an issue with the end of Oriana Kingdom, writing wise, where I think Rose should have played a bigger part. I talked about that in the episode 12 review. Overall, I was extremely happy with this season, and how they adapted everything. You know, you had everything. You had Shadow being cool, you had Shadow being dumb, and you had hot girls. What else do you watch the Eminence and Shadow for? The actual plot? You could, because the actual plot's actually pretty decent. Oh, the lesbian kiss too. Can't forget that. That's classic. That's an absolute classic. What was that, episode 2 or 3? I think it was episode 2. Cannot forget that. Best scene in the entire show. Confirmed. Obviously, you love to see it. The biggest news of this is obviously the movie coming out at the end, which I'm very much looking forward to, the movie of the next arc, which is my favorite Eminence and Shadow arc. But I was very happy with season 2. I'm looking forward to the movie, and I'm very much looking forward to season 3 eventually, because I think that this series prints money, and I think the game is very profitable, and so I think that they're going to keep at it. So I don't know. I guess we'll see. But I really enjoyed this season. Like I said, for any more specific thoughts on anything, go check out my episode reviews. In the last episode of each arc, I kind of talked about my thoughts on the arc as a whole, so I don't have too much new to say here. This penultimate series I am going to be talking about is one that I've talked about for 2 seasons now, and it's come to an end, sadly, and that is Helck. Helck, 24 episodes, adapted roughly half the story, which I did not know coming into the end, as I thought it would be the complete story, and I was a little bit thrown off because I was like, there's no way they're finishing this story in 1 episode, and I was right. There was, in fact, no way they were finishing the story in 1 episode. I talked about Helck at length, I think, in the mid-season review, where I talked about how much I loved it. Obviously, there we were just getting the Helck backstory. Boy, howdy. Helck backstory was absolutely phenomenal. I loved every second of the Helck backstory. I love Helck. I think that, you know, it's a relatively simple story. Again, kind of like Ragna Crimson, but it's done really well. I think that the animation has been pretty solid, though I would say Ragna Crimson is prettier. But I do love the art style of Helck a lot. In a lot of cases, I will say, maybe not every case, but in a lot of cases, I really do. And by a lot of cases, I mean Helck and Vermilio and Pee-wee. And by not a lot of cases, I mean some of the demon designs are kind of plain / kind of bad. But Helck overall has been a really solid series. I will say, from the halfway point, from the Helck backstory, it lost a little bit of steam with me. I think because of how simple, ultimately, Mikaros and Rafaid, I think they pronounce it Rafaid in the anime. I'm butchering that, I know. I'm going to pronounce it Rafaid, though. Firstly, due to how simple Mikaros and Rafaid kind of turned out to be. I guess we don't know Rafaid's backstory, but he's not as cunning as I guess I thought it was, because his ultimate plan boiled down to, oh, let's make Helck mad and rampage, which I can respect. Like, I completely understand that, but, like, hinging all your bets on that, and, like, it's foiled that easily by Vermilio, which, don't get me wrong, I loved Helck's little character arc, and I loved Vermilio's realization of, oh, he doesn't want to kill humans. Everyone's always been like that. He doesn't want to kill humanity. He wants to help all his friends, and her stepping up to be there for him and help him with that. I love Vermilio. I love her character arc. Voice acting phenomenal in Helck, especially Vermilio. She's just so much fun. I really love her. Matsuoka does a great job as Azudra because we got kind of more of his backstory and kind of more with him. And I'm really impressed to see how that joke character in Azudra has improved and really grown to become a very serious force in the show and a very serious character in the show. Those are the highlights. Idil versus Hira was definitely a highlight of the second half here. I really liked Idil's little character arc and Hira's, and I think that was fun. Like I said, though, Mikaros' backstory being that he was just a soldier who got immortality. I can't remember how. I think it was either intrinsic to him or he was cursed with it or something the same as Azudra. And he was scared of Azudra, so like he became evil. I mean, I don't know. It's kind of on me because I expected more, but I kind of expected more. So it kind of lost a little bit of the steam it had with me. I still really liked it. Don't get me wrong. I still really liked it, and I hope that it gets a season 2. That was weird enough for a manga that I think finished in 2021 to get an anime this late anyways. It finished in 2021 at least. It either finished in 2021 or 2017. But I can't. I think it started in 2017. I don't know exactly, but it is rare for a manga like that to get an anime. So hopefully a season 2 happens. If not, I'll definitely read the manga because I really love this world and I really love these characters. I think that there's still a lot of mystery with Helck that I'm looking forward to uncovering. But ultimately, Rafai's plan being so simple at the end of the day, it kind of disappointed me because I thought he'd be more cunning than that. And Mikaros, I thought, would maybe have a more interesting and in-depth backstory. But that's really the only criticisms I have with the second half here after Helck's backstory. It's not really a criticism, but also to say nobody dies in Helck. That's absolutely true. Nobody dies in Helck. Everyone is fine and safe and dandy, and you love to see it. But yeah, I really enjoyed Helck. Like I said, if it doesn't get a season 2, I'll probably read the manga. But I guess we'll just have to see. I think there was a lot of care put into this anime, especially by the voice actors, and I really enjoyed it. It was a great random find that I will now look very fondly back on and I will recommend to other people. And I'm really looking forward to reading the manga. And also, yeah, coming into the end, I thought that it was like finishing, but no, we're just like halfway through. So I'm really looking forward to the rest of it, seeing, who exactly Rafai is, what's the king's deal. There's a lot there. What happens at the end is Helck and Alicia get back together. I won't underestimate how much I loved Helck's backstory, but I kind of really gushed about that in the mid-season review, so don't want to take up too much time gushing about it again. But the Helck's backstory was phenomenal. Absolutely loved it. Just lost a little bit of steam afterwards in my eyes. Finally, the last anime that I will talk about this season, and that is none other than Frieren Beyond Journey's End. I think I'm pronouncing her name right, Frieren. Absolutely great. I said last postseason review, it was one of the ones I had my eye on looking forward into this season. And gosh darn it, you know what? I did not watch it until after the mid-season review, so I didn't talk about it then. But I did watch it like immediately after the mid-season review, and I've been keeping up with it since, except for the past 2 weeks or so, I think. I'm on roughly episode 15-ish, maybe. I don't know. Last episode I saw was something happening. Was the sleep episode where they fought the sleep flower. I do remember that happening. I think that was in the last episode I watched. I've been slacking a little bit, but this was a very surprising find. It wasn't super surprising because I read the description of it before even the season started. I was like, that looks really interesting. I'll probably watch it. And then obviously halfway through the season, hearing a ton of people talk about it, I was like, that's probably going to be a pretty darn good show. I should probably watch it. And then I watched it, and you know what? It was a pretty darn good show. Not my favorite anime this season. Not top one of all time. But a very, very solid show. I think it has some genuinely good writing. I think it has some genuinely good characters. I think that it has some very, very good moments and some very, very good actions, and I love the structure of it. There's a lot of good to say about Frieren. In terms of pure writing quality, I might put it, it's either first or second. I'd probably put it second to Eminence and Shadow, but I'm extremely biased there. I think that Frieren is a more traditionally well-written story as opposed to the Eminence and Shadow, which I think is arguably perfect writing for what it is. Frieren has been a great little journey, getting to journey with Frieren and Fern and Stark and now Sign. I was very happy they added Sign. I hope he sticks around as like the fourth party member. I don't know if he will or not. I don't know. Maybe he's already dead in the anime and I just don't know because I haven't seen it. But this has been, I really enjoy their chemistry. I think that the animation is obviously phenomenal. Voice actors do a great work. I think that the source material itself is great. It just has all the makings of a phenomenal anime. All the character interactions are great. You know, I'm a big character guy. I'm going to gush about the characters. That's what I love, the characters. It's fun action, too. You know, I think the power system in Frieren is fun, and that's not the focus of it, so to have a fun power system on the side is good as well. I enjoyed the little arc against the demons. I think that was really fun. And I also love its approach to demons, where it's like, yeah, no, they're just evil. They're just evil. They're just beasts. And I love how Frieren beats Aura. Obviously, you know, it's the funny gamer scene. But there is a lot to love about Frieren. Like I said, the demons are done extremely well. I love how you know, unlike other shows, this isn't my thought, I've heard this somewhere, where it's like, you know, unlike other shows, Frieren like doesn't be like, oh, demons are redeemable or they're misunderstood. No, they're just evil. They're just evil beasts. Like, there is objectively no good demon. I love that. I think that is a great concept, and I love seeing it play out, and I love seeing it play out time and time again. I think that it's really fun. And just the way that Frieren handles storytelling and characters is just honestly elite. Like I said, it's the best like traditionally written anime this season that I've watched, at least, if not overall. But it's been absolutely a treat, and I'm really looking forward to seeing more of it next season. And it's just been really good. Okay, finally, let's get into the awards. Let's get into the funny ones, the jokey ones, and by that I mean they're all serious and none of them are really funny. But let's get into the awards. So you should see on the screen right now, if I take the time to make it in editing, the previous winners of the categories. You should have been able to see them this entire time. I don't know. I still have to make that background as of the time of recording, and that's going to happen immediately after I hit stop recording on OBS, is when I will make that background. But you should see the previous winners from the previous season. So it is time to christen the third annual The Rat's Nest Seasonal Anime Awards. We'll start off with the biggest surprise. This award is given to the anime that surprises me the most. So for instance, Mushoku Tensei is never going to win biggest surprise because I'm going to expect it to be peak fiction. It will be peak fiction. I won't be surprised. This one was a toughie because I really didn't know which two to choose between from. It was either Frieren or Helck. And I gave it to Helck last season because it was genuinely surprising. I turned out to really love it, and I just randomly picked it up. And this one was hard because Helck genuinely surprised me again with Helck's backstory, with how much I love and care about these characters and how good it was. Like, that was a genuine surprise. And I seriously considered it, but the second half of the season, it kind of losing the steam. I don't know. I didn't feel 100% giving it to Helck again for Helck's backstory because I just don't think it held it together at a 100% pace. It kind of went below my expectations. It stopped surprising me anymore. And for that reason, Frieren Beyond Journey's End is, in fact, the winner of the biggest surprise award. And again, I kind of debated about this because I was like, oh, was it really a surprise? Because I went into it thinking that I'd like it. And obviously hearing everyone talk about it and be like, oh, it's the best thing since sliced bread, I knew it was going to be good. But I think that it was still a surprise as to how genuinely well written it was. Because a lot of the time, seasonal anime like that, like the most popular anime this season, are bad. I.e. My Dress Up Darling. I will never forgive that. I will never forgive Darling in the Franxx either. I hate Darling in the Franxx. I hate 02. That's just an objective. No, 02 sucks. But to see a seasonal anime be like genuinely good was surprising. It follows in the vein of Oshi no Ko, which is a very similar story where it was a surprise. You know, it won the first one unofficially. It's been posthumously granted the award. But I've really enjoyed Frieren. I enjoyed it honestly a lot more than I thought I would. And for a lot of different reasons than I thought I would. It's just an extremely well-rounded series that has been a surprise is how pleasant it has been. Next award we have is the Best Opening Award, and I had to think about this one really, really hard. I can tell you the 3 finalists were Grayscale Dominator by OXT, Roar, which is the Eminence and Shadow Season 2's opening. Roar, I think it's called, it was Ragna Crimson's opening, and Specials by King Nu for Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2. I know Specials is kind of technically last season, but the anime was still airing this season, so I'm going to count it. I had to think really hard about this. Oh yeah, the other finalist that I kind of thought about was Helck's opening, but I kind of ruled that one out. It was really between those 3 at the end. Helck's opening was really, really good, but I don't think it competes with the other 3. Grayscale Dominator, I love. Whenever I first heard it, I wasn't completely sold on it. I still did like Highest more. But now I think I do like Grayscale Dominator more. I've listened to it a lot just on my own time, and for that reason, it was a really big contender. And I just really, really love everything in it. It's very unique. OXT as a band, I enjoy. They've done a couple of songs I've really, really liked, including Highest, right? Season 1 OP. I think they really knocked it out of the park with Grayscale Dominator. As for, what was the second one that I said again? Oh yeah, Roar, Ragna Crimson's OP. I'm a huge metal guy. I love metal. So always having a metal OP is I'm going to be a fan of it. Especially like a good metal OP, which I would say Roar is. I really enjoyed it. I would say the visuals maybe aren't as good as the other 2. It's more generic in its visuals. The song itself, like Roar is just a song that if it came on, like I would genuinely listen to it. And I guess all 3 are, but I really, really enjoyed it. It's just, you know, a good metal song. There's also an opening of an anime, so I really appreciated that. And finally, you have Specials by King Nu. Obviously, probably the biggest opening of the season. I've seen way more people talk about it than I have seen people talk about Frieren's opening, which is kind of strange given that Frieren's opening is done by Yasobi, same guys who did Oshi no Ko, as well as some other songs. I listened to them before they were big off of Oshi no Ko. Of course, most people did because running whatever it is, the one song, it's the Yasobi song. Everyone knows it. Everyone listened to it before Oshi no Ko, but Specials is just great. Everything. It's so unique. There's no song I really feel like sounds like Specials. And I had listened to some King Nu beforehand, just from hearing probably either some of his other anime tracks or just listening to anime tracks and then getting him on shuffle, like the random shuffle, and liking some of his stuff. So I had definitely listened to some of his stuff before, but Specials is just on another level, honestly. And then not just the song itself, but also the visuals. You can't argue. I think easily Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2's opening visuals were probably the best of the season. Not just from the stuff that I watched, but from everything. I suppose I can't say that because I haven't seen all the openings, but Season 2's opening was just genuinely that impressive. And so Specials, just the song itself absolutely slapping. The meaning of the song absolutely slapping. The use of the song in the anime itself, obviously with Yuji looking over the destruction of Shibuya caused by Sukuna. Why am I saying it's Sukuna? Oh my gosh, I watched one video where the guy called it Sukuna, and now I'm posing Sukuna. It's Sukuna. It's my goat. It's my goat. I throat him every single day. I love Sukuna. He's the goat. Stronger than Fraud Joe. You know, I think that it's pretty clear that Specials won. That was a really hard choice until I was like listening to Specials, and I was like, okay, no, Specials has to take it. Like I said, technically it started last season, but that doesn't count. So that doesn't count. It's an anime opening this season. I'm gonna count it. I love Specials so much. Specials is just, it's on a different level from the others, I feel. Specials is really something special. So I'm proud to award it with that award. Finally, we get to the piece de resistance. We get to what I think is the best anime of the season, personally. Pretty much a no-brainer. It's the Eminence and Shadow Season 2. There wasn't too much competition on this one. You know, I really, really enjoyed Frieren, and like I said, I think it's probably the better, more traditionally written story than an anime than The Eminence in Shadow 2. But The Eminence in Shadow 2 is also extremely, extremely well written from a comedy standpoint, and for what it needs to be, I think that it is almost perfectly written. And just the animation and the voice acting and everything put together, all of it led to every single week it being my favorite anime to watch. It being, I think the best anime of the ones that I watched. Jujutsu Kaisen Shibuya is obviously also kind of up there. But ultimately I was just always more excited for The Eminence in Shadow, just because I personally really, really love the series, and so getting to see the series was always really, really fun. It's one of my top 10s, so it's no surprise that it's going to be my best/favorite anime of the season. I'll call it favorite. I think you've probably been seeing favorite on there because I just decided I like that term better than best anime. But my favorite anime of the season was easily The Eminence in Shadow Season 2. There is not much debate about that at all. And now we'll talk about, real quickly, touching up on the wrap-up, we'll talk about what I'm going to be watching next season. So, the big ticket item is Solo Leveling. It's a big one everyone's going to be watching, I hope. And I hope that A1 Pictures does a great, great job with it. I think, Solo Leveling could print money if they do it right. Solo Leveling already prints money. This anime is going to print money regardless of whether they do it right or not. But long term, it would behoove them to make this a good adaptation because it could earn them so much cash. I'll be doing weekly reviews of this on the channel with my friend Kyle, who hasn't seen it. I'm very, very much looking forward to it. I will also say this is easily the favorite anime of the season next year. I don't know what the opening will be yet. I think that some of it has been released. I haven't listened to it yet because I'm waiting for the actual anime to drop. But I am really, really looking forward to it. I can't wait. Other than that, I'll probably watch Classroom of the Elite Season 3. I actually haven't read the light novels for Season 3 content. But I hope the adaptation is a little bit better than Season 2. I really, really enjoy The Eminence I do enjoy The Eminence in Shadow, Classroom of the Elite. But I think sometimes it could get a little muddled, like Season 2 of the anime could get a little muddled. I thought the light novels were clearer. So I hope maybe Season 3 is a little bit better in that regard. I also feel like it was maybe a little bit rushed. Other than that, there's really only 2 other anime I'm planning on watching, which is odd. Typically, I've watched more. Like I said, I watched 6 this season. Well, I guess the Ragna Crimson and Frieren will still be going, so I'll still have 6. The other one I'll be watching is My Instant Death ability is so overpowered, no one in this other world can stand a chance. I think that's the full English title. I don't know. It cuts off on my anime list. But this one is I really enjoyed. I really enjoyed the manga for it. I actually have volume 1 of the light novel I need to read. I'm really looking forward to the anime. So I think it does the instant death ability thing fun. I think that it does it pretty well. I think that it's a very comedic series. I think that the writing is pretty good for what it is. And I'm looking forward to seeing more of it. The next one I'm going to be watching, and the final one, is The Wrong Way to Use Healing Magic. Not Redo of Healer. It's not Redo of Healer. I know it's drawing a lot of comparisons. I've read this manga as well. Back in the day, this and Redo of Healer, right? I knew it. I've known it. And I remember liking the characters, and I know the main character has a blue bear as a pet, and I think that that's pretty darn cool. So, I'm expecting it to be pretty average, and at the end of the day, it's probably going to be pretty average. So, I guess we'll see whenever it finally comes out, but I am looking forward to it. But yeah, that's it. That's what I'm watching next season. So be sure to come to the mid-season review and then the post-season review for winter 2024, where I'll give my thoughts on this. Maybe I'll drop them. Maybe I'll pick something else up. We'll have to see what the surprise of the season is. Maybe Solo Leveling will be so good that it is the surprise of the season, but we'll just have to see for that one. Episode 1 drops tomorrow as of the time of recording, I think. So I am really, really looking forward to finally getting into that. It's gonna be a lot of fun. I'm just looking forward to next season as a whole. But with all that said, if you are this far in the episode and video, then obviously there is something you like. So be sure to like, subscribe, and leave a comment telling me what you thought about the anime this season. What was your favorite kind of things? What would win your awards? Thank you all for watching, genuinely. If you're this far in, these are always longer videos, but they're always fun. I enjoy just getting to sit down and reminisce on the season itself and get to think about, what I think about this, what I think about that. I try not to go too long, but I always end up going too long. But hey, you know what? It's under an hour, I think. So, with all that said, thank you all for watching. I hope you all enjoyed, and we'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.